You end up creating products in the way that the people can understand what this is for and what are the benefits. So I guess into your campaigns, you have to deliver still a lot of education around what is happening.
Yeah, what's interesting is I've discovered this phenomenon, which is that because we women and girls were taught to ignore our women's health experiences. We're taught that period pain isn't really that bad and vaginal infections are not that serious. And, we're just taught to grit our teeth and get on with it. We ourselves don't recognize that we deserve better solutions and there need to be better ways in which we manage our health. So communication and education are actually really challenging because there's such a poor level of awareness amongst the general population about the importance of maintaining your gynecological health and what options are out there.
Today we have the founder of Daye, a Femtech brand empowering women through better gynecological health awareness. She is Valentina Milanova, a woman entrepreneur with a unique journey full of inspiration who started her business with a simple idea and transformed it into a powerful brand that addresses women's health across innovation, focuses on organic, toxic-free products. They are known for its innovative CBD tampons. In this episode, Valentina discusses the challenges she faces in the femtech industry, including societal taboos and censorship. She shared practical tips on overcoming these obstacles, emphasizing the importance of innovation and staying committed to your mission. Her approach to branding and advertising took my attention, as well as her commitment to destigmatizing women's health sets a powerful example for aspiring entrepreneurs. Her journey highlights the need for greater support and awareness in the industry, and her resilience in the face of adversity is truly inspiring. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and get ready to listen into this episode of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. Welcome.
Welcome one more time to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. We are going to be today into the entrepreneurial world with a special ingredient of resilience and innovation. Actually, my guest today is Valentina Milanova. She's the founder of Daye, that is a femtech brand making, of course, a lot of impact into the menstrual health. Our conversation will be around her brand and how her empowerment, determination have been making her passing all those obstacles and challenges that is getting everybody sometimes being in the right way to make more impact startups related this time with women's health. From the beginning of her idea, we are going to talk about her brand, all the challenges, all the envisionings of the futures of femtech that she is going to be sharing with us today. So welcome, Valentina, to the Brilliantly Branded podcast. It's a pleasure having you here. And of course, my first question, as always, I say to my guests, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about the origin of Daye?
Of course, thank you, Maria. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to be a part of your podcast. I started the company in 2017, and what we are at Daye is a comprehensive platform for gynecological health management. The company started as a manufacturer of novel medical and diagnostic devices, really inspired by the realization that menstrual tampons can do a lot more than just soak up menstrual fluid. So we started with the introduction of the world's first pain-relieving tampon, which has been clinically validated for its efficacy in primary and secondary dysmenorrhea. And we now more recently have introduced a diagnostic tampon, which serves as an at-home self-sampling solution for STIs, HPV, and vaginal infections. Now, alongside these products that we have designed, the physical products, we also have a virtual care platform, which facilitates prescriptions for contraception, hormonal replacement therapy, antibiotics, antifungals, anything that you might need in order to adequately manage your gynecological health. And alongside our prescriptions, we also offer virtual consultations and virtual care with physicians, nurses, and health experts who have been trained to understand and appreciate the unique healthcare needs of women.
Wow, this is already a lot. I mean, it's like a 360 about female health, and I think it's very important for our listeners to know a little bit about how this idea was born. I mean, how did you get this into the idea and then get it into the realization? How that happened, Valentina?
Yeah, so it's been a long journey. I've been building Daye for the past 7 years. I started with the idea for repurposing the tampon to do more than just menstrual health. And then we started trying to manufacture our products. So we had to learn about medical device manufacturing and diagnostic manufacturing, quality standards. We had to set up new production facilities and design new products as well as new machines that these new products could be manufactured on. We then had to complete clinical trials and obtain regulatory approvals. And alongside everything that we're doing, we do want to maintain a very strong focus on sustainability. So alongside the product innovation, we've also incorporated material science innovation to ensure that we can create products that are truly sustainable. So for our tampon products, we use cottonized hemp, which is a significantly more sustainable fiber. It requires less irrigation. It doesn't require pesticides or herbicides to grow compared to cotton. We use that as the absorbent material in our period care products. And then we've also designed the world's first flushable wrapper and flushable applicator, which enable people to reduce their petrol-derived plastic waste when using disposable period care items. Obviously, to materialize all of this vision, I also had to fundraise. So I had to learn how to attract private capital and public funding. Yeah.
How did you decide to go for it? Do you have any personal story behind that push you to think, well, how can I solve this problem, not just for me, but for other women around myself? That is something that happened like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my first period when I was very young. I was 9 and I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't prepared for the change. And I just assumed that I was dying, that I had some kind of a disease that would lead to my death, right? Because you're bleeding, so it's quite scary. And because I was 9, my parents hadn't had a conversation with me about what to expect, puberty, menstruation, the changes that the body goes through. But then later on, when I admitted to them that I had started my period, there was so much shame and stigma and trivialization of period pain that I didn't really feel I was getting the support that I needed from, my school, my teachers, my parents, or healthcare providers. What this experience built in me, however, is the ability and the desire to seek out my own information and to find solutions that would work for me to create them by myself. So I actually never thought that I would become an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur, and I always thought that his life was too stressful, and he was always in a position of financial instability. So I thought being an entrepreneur is a bad life decision.
Yeah.
But I was just so fascinated with the idea of repurposing the tampon for additional use cases, and I just genuinely believe that solving for women's health is one of the most important things that we could do within the lifetime that we're born in. Because such a huge percentage of the population cannot reach their full potential if they have unmanaged period pain or unmanaged menopause symptoms or unmanaged vaginal infections. So that's what gives me the motivation to wake up and get out of bed every day and fight the fights that have to be won for women's health to be done better.
Yeah, wow, that is incredible. The way that you end up doing the things, realizing that probably becoming an entrepreneur will be no that nice or fancy thing to do. But the thing that took my attention actually is how you in certain way will be able to educate around you, because what you have been mentioning is, well, I was not knowing what will happen to me when I was 9 years old. So what all the things are happening to me. And then you end up creating products in the way that the people can understand what this is for and what are the benefits. So I guess into your campaigns, you have to deliver still a lot of education around what is happening.
Yeah, what's interesting is I've discovered this phenomenon, which is that because we women and girls were taught to ignore our women's health experiences, we're taught that period pain isn't really that bad, and vaginal infections are not that serious, and we're just taught to grit our teeth and get on with it. We ourselves don't recognize that we deserve better solutions, and there need to be better ways in which we manage our health. So the communication and education are actually really challenging because there's such a poor level of awareness amongst the general population about the importance of maintaining your gynecological health and what options are out there. So Daye has always been very focused on education. The first product that we ever launched was our blog, Vitals, which is a educational hub with resources, free resources on everything that you need to know about gynecological health, from endometriosis to polycystic ovarian syndrome to menopause and perimenopause. And beyond the blog Vitals, we've also created the book, an illustrated guide that's 200 pages long on everything gynecological health. So how to speak to your parents about seeking an abortion, or how to choose the right form of contraception, or what are the different types of period care solutions that are available to you. Our book, it's called The Vagina Matters. It's designed to be the go-to guide for everything that you need when you first start your period and your body first starts changing, so that people feel more prepared for the changes ahead.
Yeah, well, I saw that you use a term that is the gender pain gap. I mean, it's like how the people are aware about how the pain is really transforming our life, and pain related not just with pain every month that we have in our periods, but actually the pain that cause actually a hormonal change, for example. So this is that you are already talking about menopause and all these things that are happening that are, most of the time have been like a taboo. So my question is basically how you have been shaped that in order to mix your purpose, that is communicating and support women in certain way, with your way to do business and being an entrepreneur. So how that experience have been done into your side?
Yeah, so when we first started building the Daye brand, I assumed that we would be able to work with agencies, right? A lot of entrepreneurs turn to brand agencies. And we try to work with six different brand agencies. But what I realized is that brand agencies tend to want to do the same thing over and over again. They want to have the same design language applied across many different brands. So in order to stand for something truly different and to say something truly different that others had not said already, we brought the design of the brand in-house. And since the beginning, we've only ever worked with one designer. She's really an artist. She's a lot more than a brand designer. Her name is Erin Romo. She's based in New York, and she and I work together really closely to infuse every single design choice we made for the brand with lots of added meaning. So none of our colors, for example, are just there because we think they're beautiful. All of our color schemes, all of our patterns, they, signify something that we want to relay. So for example, we use burnt orange as the main color of Daye because we want to signify a new day coming in women's health, a sunrise in women's health. We've just made these very purposeful design choices across everything from, the way in which we engage in educational campaigns to the way in which we design our packaging.
Yeah, I saw that basically your clients now, you are selling B2C, right? I mean, you directly to consumers. And I saw that
we're also in retail.
you are also in retail, okay. But part of the campaigns that you have been put outside, I saw one that was vandalized in London recently, and that took my attention. And actually, that's why the reason why I ended up contacting you to be my guest, to let us know why this topic have been vandalized. What was the reasons that you found out that people end up vandalizing this campaign?
Yeah, so women's health companies face a lot of censorship, online and offline. Online, we face censorship in the sense that Meta, Google, Amazon, all of the large advertising platforms, all of the large advertising marketplaces, they all categorize women's health as adult content or political content. So for any women's health company, it's incredibly hard, it's incredibly challenging to grow and to develop your business. What we weren't expecting is that this censorship would expand to real life as well. So we developed an out of home campaign that we were very excited about. We introduced it on the streets of London, and it was not offensive or challenging in any way. It was just a photo of our tampon, and people took it upon themselves to apply stickers onto the tampon because they felt that we shouldn't be talking about vaginal health or menstruation on the streets of London. So unfortunately, there are very significant, very deep biases in gynecological health, which affect most women's health companies' ability to reach their target consumer.
Yeah, that is true, and I have been realizing that is not only with that, is as well with hormonal changes that we have as a women, that we are not really mention it or in the public, because it's like not seen in a good way. And part of the things actually is how do you manage as a brand those taboos? Because one thing is educating, but the other one is telling to the people, well, this is the reality, what is happening to us. But in terms of communication, how do you remove those taboos in a certain way?
Well, we just take a very candid approach, a very direct approach. So when we talk about any women's health experience, we talk about it from a position of, sharing the scientific facts and trying to really normalize the experience of menstruating or having a vaginal infection or having an STI or having HPV. Which is associated with cervical cancer. So our approach is deeply rooted in science, but we also try to, present beautiful visuals that will be appealing to the eye of the reader or to the eye of the consumer. And our hope is that by creating products and packagings and social media messages, which are beautifully branded, that in that way we also help destigmatize women's health conversations.
Yeah, well, this is very challenging, and I guess that this is not being the only one challenge that you have had as an entrepreneur. And I really love that you can share with us some of those challenges being an entrepreneur, because building the company that you have been built until now and the brand and making a name across the years. You are a very young entrepreneur, but if you can share with us what have been most of those challenges that you have been experimented, that will be lovely.
Yeah. So for us, the main challenges have been around manufacturing, because the tampon industry is so heavily monopolized. If you want to manufacture a new and different product, you have to own your supply chain. You have to design your machines, which is very hard, especially given that most design engineers are men. So they're not that interested in the space of women's health. So it's very hard to recruit design engineers that will be dedicated and interested and committed and will be able to thrive in the very dynamic and ambiguous startup environment. Another key challenge has been fundraising. So the statistics here speak for themselves. Less than 2% of venture capital goes to female founders. Less than 1% of venture capital goes to women's health. Less than 1% of public funding goes to women's health. So there's a gap in research funding. There's a gap in commercialization funding, which is very, very deep. And as a result, most of the women's health companies that I know, most of the Femtech startups, they're built in conditions of extreme scarcity, where, the founders are really pinching pennies and they're not able to always provide the best conditions for their teams because we can't offer competitive salaries and we can't offer, like incredible office perks. Because most women's health startups are just built on very little funding. And then the third main issue is just the constant blocking of our ads. So even if you overcome the first and the second issue around funding and designing your product, then it's very, very hard to commercialize your product because people are not aware about the need for us to do better in women's health. And then there's all of these bans on talking about women's health on Meta, Google, Amazon, TikTok, all of these large platforms.
But what they are doing is specifically to ban your content, for example.
What are the platforms doing?
Yes.
So you can't talk about menstruation, menopause, breastfeeding. If you talk about any of these topics, your ad will get classified as adult content or political content by the algorithms of these large advertising platforms and large marketplaces.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. I'm amazed about that because, I saw that these categories when you are going to do advertising on social media on those platforms, but not that specifically. So I have been not dealing with these kind of things and really amazed me. So how you have been overcome that? I mean, there is a different way to do advertising if you are not doing advertising in those platforms. Have you been looking for different alternatives?
Yeah, it's a constant struggle. So some of the things that we do are we have a referrals program where our existing customers can earn money when they're recommending Daye products and services to their own community. We also invest a lot in SEO, search engine optimizations, through the educational content that we generate. In addition to this, we try and maintain a strong, robust social media presence so more people can discover us organically. There's not a silver bullet. When you're so heavily restricted on traditional channels, you have to use alternative avenues.
Yeah, correct. I think that a podcast is one of those, and this is a win-win situation where I have been realizing there is as many topics that we can talk in the podcast, but I have realizing as well that some people are still not understanding what is happening with podcasting related with the products and how the time span in podcasts now have been growing in a way that probably will not be comparing with a 30 seconds advertising that you are putting outside in social media. So that's why I'm happy that you are here, because talking about that is very important. And part of the thing is based on your experience with all the things that you have been lived until now, what you will be advising to all those women that are actually wanted to go and jump into the entrepreneurial world, that probably are still thinking how I am going to do that with all this information that I am listening, that there is a lot of things that happen in there.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to be sure about why you're deciding to go into the entrepreneurial space. So there is a lot of glamorization of entrepreneurship on social media and in the media as a whole. Being an entrepreneur is one of the hardest possible jobs that you can do, and it also comes with really high levels of financial instability and financial insecurity. And people tend to, when they're first thinking about an idea, they can really imagine what their lives will look like if the idea works out, if the business develops well. But you also need to plan for what will happen if your business doesn't develop well and if your idea doesn't actually materialize. So I think it's really important to build, support infrastructure around you with, professional coaching, a community of other founders that you can rely on. And then also just have a very frank conversation with yourself about whether you can actually take the risk of starting your own business, whether you can afford the, financial consequences, whether you can afford the emotional and psychological consequences as well. Because, when you become an entrepreneur, you have to let go of a lot of, life's comforts. But also you have to let go of a lot of your, relationships and friendships, because you're going on a very different path and a very different trajectory to the rest of your friends. So you will no longer be, available for drinks at 5 p.m. You'll forget people's birthdays, and people just have to be aware that what decision they're making. And if they can take that gamble, if they can take that risk, then go for it. Be 100% committed. Don't give up. That's the most important. The most important thing is perseverance, because there will always be a solution to any problem that you have. A solution will always come. It's just a question of, will you have the patience and the perseverance to wait for the solution and to create it, to manifest the solution.
Yeah, well, I was the other day in an event and they ask a question, this general question, and they say, what means entrepreneurship for you? and I was putting like sleeping like a baby. So a lot of people was like sleeping like a baby. That is stupid. I mean, babies sleep. How babies sleep? Some babies sleep 2 hours and wake up crying.
Yes, that's a good
So,
point. That's a good point. I agree with you.
So, well, I am in the same side. So as an
I agree with you.
entrepreneur, I am completely agree with you as well. And part of the things that I wanted for you to share with us actually is what are going to be next for Daye. I mean, how are you going to continue growing? Because I have been seeing that it have been very, very impactful the way that you have been growing the company and the brand. So what are your plans for the future, just to let our listeners that are mostly women, how they can be part of that, how they can collaborate with you as well?
So we are on yourdaye.com. That's our website, and you can contact us there. We're also on social media. Our handle is @yourdaye. So people we're a very open company. People can definitely reach out, and we'd be happy to help if we can.
Yeah, okay. Well, fascinating. I found a very fascinating products that you have, especially the services that you are offering, and the awareness about how we can take care of our female health. That is very important and really help us to make a change in the world. Do you want to add something else, Valentina, to this episode?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you know someone who is a female founder or they work in women's health, maybe, just be kind to them, buy them a coffee, because they're probably going through a world of pain that, is hidden and very few people know about.
I love it. And I feeling identify with you. So really thank you, Valentina, very much for being here, for sharing your journey, and for let us being conscious and be aware about what is really happening and being kind with other women as well. Thank you, Valentina, very much for your time and dedication to this beautiful business. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
We hope you have been inspired by this content and join us for future episodes of the Brilliantly Branded podcast. We will continue exploring the power of branding and the stories behind successful brands. And remember, if you know a woman who has built a successful brand with a unique approach and a story to share, please refer them to our podcast. We would love to learn from their experiences and share their story with our listeners. Stay tuned for most episodes of Brilliantly Branded, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, on our YouTube channel for more branding insights and women empowerment. Until the next episode, ciao ciao.